That's what's really disturbing, right? They knew some facts about Jackie.
Just enough.
About Diane.
To think it's legit.
They knew Diane was in Cape Cod.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another thing, right? That not online.
Right.
So it's actually, I have no idea, but you're right. Maybe it's somebody who somehow knew the family.
Well, that's the only way. It's either, one or two people removed or the internet. It's been my experience, or someone may have reached out. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know if your sister-in-law had reached out on some service.
Or if they called Jackie earlier under a different pretense to do info gathering.
Yes, and they gather it, and then it's just in the conveyor belt. When their time comes up, okay, we have all this information. They're good to go. They're in the hopper. Let's go.
Well, that's another good warning. Like if somebody calls, and I think most younger people know this, but especially for our older listeners, if somebody calls looking for information, asking personal information about your family members, names, anything that obviously people know, don't give your social security number.
They'll ask everything. These surveys. And so I'll entertain some of these calls just to see where's this going to go? And they want everything. I go, none ya. Yeah. None ya effing business,
Call the wrong guy. Well, I guess that's true. He must have gotten it from her, or because you said maybe he's out of the country. I just feel like he was an American, but that doesn't mean he wasn't sitting there in India making these calls. I don't know if he was close to them or not, but that I hadn't considered that he had already done research potentially on Jackie, because she wasn't that savvy to this prior to this whole event.
Yes.
All right, let's speak about how elaborate this was. There was a article, I think it was the Forbes business columnist recently, who did this whole article about how she'd been defrauded out of $85,000 cash. She put it in a shoebox over just the course of 8 hours. This guy convinced her to do it. And this is a financial columnist, so, relatively sophisticated, but gave up the dough. And he too had multiple people working with him on the fraud. This guy, I think, had at least two others. He had a fake courthouse number. He had hold music that he told us.
That tells me it's more than a one-man band. Like, let's just, as a sort of an example is this show. You're at the top of the masthead, but there's a whole infrastructure behind that beautiful face, what's going on. You bring your game, but you have your people, your producers, your bookers, your everything. And to the viewer, it seems so seamless, but there's a lot to make it happen. Same things with these confidence people. They're gathering information. Instead of producers, they may have researchers gathering backstory. Instead of celebrities or politicians, they're gathering it on everyday people. They could do an easy, journeyman's financial assessment. Is that house paid for? What's the type of cars do they have? Do they have that discretionary cash, or are they alone? Are they desperate enough? Do they have family? These are all the stress points, if you will, that these confidence men, that these teams will look at, and they use psychology. Listen, it happened to me, and I'm in the business. I was in a different form. I'm on my computer. My computer got hacked. And I was so desperate. I didn't want them getting my shit.
Yeah.
So I'm on it. And a little voice, I called up Andy, the guy we use, that's helped you in the past. And Andy's like, discontinue right now. I'm like, but I'm going to lose my... He goes, I'm fucking telling you, get off. And I was that old granny.
Yeah.
Right about to give away all my shit.
Oh, it's terrifying.
There is no socioeconomic intelligence quotient that makes you immune. It's been my experience, sometimes the smarter you are, you're so confident in who you are. Oh, this would never happen to me. I would be able to disseminate the BS.
Yes.
And they hit that pay button sooner than someone from the street.
Well, we love the piece of the story that ultimately it was the Cape Cod whaling guy who was like, I'm going by their house. I don't know what these people are saying. And he figured it out. He's the hero of the story.
10 for that.
Okay, so what about the targeting of the elderly? Because that does seem to be a theme in a lot of these.
Yes. What they'll do, again, they go on people's nature, or that they could lose their home.
But how do they find out who's elderly and how to call them? Like, do they get a sponsorship from the AARP or one of those magazines? Not to bash the AARP, but I'm just saying, like, is there a way of getting people's numbers who are old?
Yeah, well, you can go, there are services where you can get demographics of people. So like my house was up for sale like you, mass exodus out of New York. And I had all these people. Like, how the F do you know? How do you have my cell number one, right? And how do you know my house is for sale? Oh, we'll pay cash. Oh, can I show your house? Because there are services that you pay into and you get some certain demographics. So for me, I'm selling my house. There are elderly groups. If she ever signed on to any AARP or some type of association, those lots of the intelligence gathering of who you are, what demographic you are, the same way advertisers buy that.
And voters, like the campaigns.
Yes.
The campaigns are getting all that information right now.
The same way, certain demographics want that information for sales, they get it for marks. To mark you as a victim.
They can find out about us now.
And it's scary, and it's the basic psychology. You see, when we're in our home, you're an elderly lady, you may be widowed, you're all alone, and your primary thing is to go to the market to get that sale and come home. You're hit out of the blue. You're hit out of the blue with a member of your family that's in distress, and you could hit that button, and you're going to be walked through it to get them out of trouble. That's what you live for, and they know that.
So there are so many people who are in this exact position right now. And it's like, I think my audience is in general, they're a lot younger than 87. So I urge everybody, speak to your parent, speak to your great aunt, speak to anybody who's in this age group, and speak to your friends too, because it's not just the elderly, and let them know that this is out there, this kind of thing.
Whether it's this particular one, whether it's they hack into your computer, whether you're on one of those dating sites, they go to the basic emotion and need and insecurity of people, and just realize, take that breath, take a step back, because nothing is, unless you're in a car crash where you have to hit that brake, hit the brake in your mind, hit that cyber brake, hit that telephone brake, and ask questions and say, give me a number, let me get back to you. It can wait 10 minutes. And that could save you a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of...
And I will say, in that fraud that I mentioned that the business reporter wrote up about that happened to her, and in this attempted fraud of us, one of the things that she didn't do and that we didn't do and should have done was to do an independent Google search of the number of the courthouse, or in her case, I don't remember that it was like that. They said she was getting investigated by the federal government, but whoever they say is the third party,
right?
Just hang up and do a Google search. Don't call their number. You find out the number.
Right.
You make an independent call to see if this is real. Now, and get the fraudster's number so you can then call them back.
And go one step further, because there are apps, I can call you and it looks like it's coming from Doug's number. Yeah, that technology exists out there. That's rudimentary. Yes, I can call you right now and it would ring Doug's number and you would answer.
Whoa.
So there are different levels to this, and
but if I'm dialing out, I mean, like that's the empowerment, is if you are dialing out on your phone,
then you take
to the
number,
Barnstable courthouse.
Right. Like I had Amazon. I had an Amazon scam, and it was online. It came over a text. Right? Did you charge this on Amazon? Click here. Fuck that. I got on the phone with Amazon direct, and I'm like, is this what you do? They go, absolutely not.
Oh.
I go, is this a thing? They go, that's a thing.
I get attempted frauds at me every day via email. Click on this. So it's like, I usually just forward them to Abby and she deals with it.
Right.
Or like the scams, and she puts these major blockers on my phone. But it's amazing because most people don't have an Abby, and most people haven't had this happen to them, and they're not living on guard. They're actually still trusting, loving people.
Right.
Unlike us cynical bastards. And even as cynical as we are, we almost got taken in.
Let me tell you, listen, essentially we're good people. We care about people. But F that. Like, I had a lady, I was in Midtown, this was a number of years ago, middle-aged, well-dressed woman, and she hit me with the gasoline on my car. And I was fascinated that this woman was well-dressed, well-spoken, and she's hitting me up. I said, I'll walk you to your car right now. Oh, I really get... And then she just walked away. So they prey, upon your good nature. And again, many people haven't been raised from the streets, but it's incumbent to have those street smarts.
Yeah.
And bad guys don't necessarily dress up like in the old Batman bad guy t-shirt.
No.
Now it's on the internet, and the cyber world is a whole nother animal. And just remember, always press the brakes and question.
This month, we celebrate Father's Day. And let's take a moment to talk about dads. Dads can bring values to the home. They can help you stand up for your beliefs. This Father's Day, I want to give you one way you could honor the legacy of dads with an AMAC membership. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, champions the values of faith, family, and freedom. You can find out more at amac.us/Megyn. By joining AMAC, you support an organization that fights for principles that you care about. And this month only, you get a 2-year membership for just $16. That's 2 years for the price of one. Join thousands of people in America who are proud to be AMAC members. Visit amac.us/Megyn. Let's celebrate Father's Day by standing up for what dads believe in. Happy Father's Day. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.